say that I'm a reborn, so well, I hope it happens right.
Everyone, once again the vicious right to the pussy and your host show YouTube is signing off and imitated. Never duplicated such condition. Gonna go over Raw this week was in Detroit, Michigan, Detroit, Rock City. And I'm pretty sure that's the closest I'm gonna make to a Kish reference on the rest of this show. Before we get into that, couple things. Well, news broke as of the day of this recording. There's reports, and I say that with quotes, that WWE is no longer enforcing weekly COVID tests. Okay, now keep in mind, these are being reported by dirt sheet jerk-off guys, which, God knows how many times they've been wrong more than right. So keep that in mind. And also, listen, not all places of employment enforce mandatory COVID testing. Some do, some don't. If I guarantee, if nobody's saying nothing about the fact that McDonald's isn't enforcing it, nobody's saying nothing about the fact that fucking JCPenney isn't. But, and I get it. Wrestling fans, and speaking from first-hand experience, we're passionate. We are passionate about wrestling. So the second we see, hear, or hear anything that could possibly disrupt our flow or our train of thought on what we like or may dislike about wrestling, it can shove a wild hair up our ass. I get it. But, just take it with a grain of salt and wait to see. Because, people were swearing up and down WWE denied guys to do a farewell videos for Ring of Honor for Final Battle when Kevin Owens went out there and openly said, no, they never denied us, it's just Ring of Honor never contacted WWE and asked. So, for all we know, 2 to 3 weeks from now we could hear an entirely different story. So just keep this in mind. Alright, thank you. Now with that said, let's switch gears, talk about last week via the SmackDown Rewind. The big highlights from last week's SmackDown, ho 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 ho, it was a Christmas Eve SmackDown, and it started out with none other than my savior, Paul Heyman, looking beaten, disheveled, broken, sitting in a pre-taped interview with Kayla Braxton. Kayla looking like she's trying to do her best Barbara Walters 2020 interview, asking the tough questions. What's going to happen from Paul Heyman from here? And Paul looking with the straightest faces. I suppose I could just go to NXT, pick a young up-and-coming star, start from scratch, right? Well, I could. And then Paul, he started to go into detail about on how owes everything to not just Roman, but to his family, because of all the years of service he's had for his family. Keep in mind, Paul was the manager for the Samoan SWAT team, which did have the Anawais, which is Roman's family, So, yeah, he's been working with Roman's family for forever. But talking about on how he's been there and Roman plucked him from the island of obscurity. He pulled him back when everyone shunned and casted him away. And then he just looked and said, honestly, at this point, I think my career is over. And for the love of God, I really hope that's not the case, just because of the fact of what we all know and how much I love Paulie. You know, and yes, I will admit, I will openly admit this until my dying breath. I drank the Paul Heyman Kool-Aid growing up. I drank the Paul Heyman Kool-Aid of, yay WWE, fuck WWF, fuck WCW. I drank that Kool-Aid with and fully enjoyed it. If he would have told us to if he would have told me to walk through the gates of hell, I would have said gladly. But from a wrestling mind, the guy is a fucking savant. He's a fucking savant. He learned from the greats. And he grew up, and the man pretty much grew up in the business. He spent from the time he was like 14 doing photography in Madison Square Garden all the way up until now. So he spent his entire life in this. He's a genius. If I was just me personally, and maybe this is a little bit of the fanboy in me saying this, but if I was Vince, maybe not on payroll, but consulting. Because they've had some issues with having him on payroll before, working not just for writing, but talent and all. You know, looking and helping build talent like with the OVW stuff. But just as a consultant, like, hey, Paul, think you can help this guy? Think you can help build this guy up some? Give him some pointers? Show him some stuff he could do? Things like that. Other big highlights from SmackDown. Well, Charlotte Flair had a match with Toni Storm for the women's title, which it was a good match. It was a nice little coming out for Toni, if you will, doing her for. And when I say that, I mean to be like actually on the SmackDown roster and actually getting TV time and all. Charlotte won the match, and then there was a 12-man gauntlet match to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, which Sami Zayn won. So Sami Zayn is now the new number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. My guess their match is going to be at day one, if not the Rumble. There was also a 6-man tag match, Miracle on 34th Street fight. Drew McIntyre and the New Day, Woods and Kofi, going against the Usos and Madcap Moss. And this was your standard run-of-the-mill train wreck, car crash for a street fight. The big payoff for it though. Hands down, Corbin and Moss both getting these two giant gallon-sized pitchers of eggnog poured right on them. And man, I gotta tell you, SmackDown has not been kind to Corbin. He had dog food poured on him. He's been burnt by The Rock on the Fox debut, saying he looked like a Game of Thrones Burger King reject. And now he's had eggnog poured on him. Yeah, SmackDown's not been very friendly to this guy. And that's for coming from somebody who doesn't really like him. What's that tell you? Oof. So yeah, that was pretty much the big highlights from SmackDown. So with that said, let's get into this week's show. It starts off with Randy and Riddle coming out, doing a little holiday celebration like festivities thing, and Riddle running his mouth and Randy just having this look of like the older brother just staring at his younger brother that his mom and told him he has to bring out and hang out with his friends, and he's just like, God, I just want to punch you in the head. He just has that look like, I just want to punch you in the head so bad right now. And I can't help but laugh because, yeah, we've all been there where we've seen somebody just go on and start talking about stupid shit and you're like, I really wish I could just shut you up. But yeah. And then next thing you know, Gable and Otis come out. Gable starts running his mouth talking about on how he took Randy to his limits last week. And then Riddle issues a challenge to Gable, so then they proceed to have a match, which leads to the first match of the night, Riddle versus Gable. This, I gotta tell you right now, this was really good groundwork in this match. Holy fuck! And, you know, I say this every week, but it's the honest to God truth. One day, we are going to see Gable Stevenson versus Chad Gable in the WWE ring. And, oh, it's going to be glorious. Just wait. Just you wait and see. Excuse me. Don't worry, it's not another Rona cough. But this was a decent match. It came to an end. Riddle, he got the floating bro, 1, 2, 3. And then immediately after that, we proceeded to get Randy versus Otis. And Otis, oh my god, Otis was straight up pancaking Randy. He flattened it, you know. It's like the old cartoon cliche where you see a steamroller go over somebody and then they, like, are super flat, like, onto the ground. That was pretty much like on how Randy was when that happened. Until, like, eventually Otis wound up doing a running charge on him outside of the ring, and then he hit the stairs, and yeah, then Randy started to get some momentum on his side. Fast forward to the ending, how it came to be. Randy got the win. Otis went to go for a Vader bomb, missed. Randy rolled out the way, and as Otis got up, and then Randy just boom popped an RKO. 1, 2, 3. That was it. And then Riddle got in the ring, started talking to Randy, saying, now it's time for your gift, dude. It's a hug. Come on, it'll just be between you and me. Nobody will know. Okay, it's a private hug between you and me in the ring with all the... This is why I want to punch you in the head, man. Ugh. And then Randy gave him a hug and then teased him like, almost got you. So yeah, that was it. Then next up we got mixed tag match, Brooke and Reggie going against R-Truth and Tamina, and it was kind of a meh sort of start with Dana It was a meh kind of start with Truth and Reggie. I mean, and listen, I have given my distaste on how I feel on Reggie. I'm not a fan of his. Just because all he does is the flip-flops. I got no problem with that. But dude, I want to see more. Show me more. Don't just go and do 300 cartwheels. Don't just go and do flip, 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 flip. I mean, Christ, honest to goodness, one time when I was doing the backyard stuff, I had somebody trying to pull that stuff off in a match, and I just stopped in the middle. I just stood there, waited until he stopped, and then, the hell you doing? Let's get this match going. Yeah, I caught some hell for that in the back, but it just, ugh. Man, can't stand, I got no problem with the high-flying flip-flop stuff. I honest to God don't. But really, if you're gonna do that, show that you can do some other stuff too. Throw a punch, throw a kick, throw a scoop slam for crying out loud. Do a headlock takedown. Anything. Ugh. But yeah, the main meat of the bone on this match was more so when the girls were in there. Dana and Tamina, they were doing pretty good, and then Truth and Reggie got back in there. It was a lot better than when it first started, but it came to an end with Reggie doing a sunset flip, and oh dear God, oh God almighty, it was a sunset flip with fucking authority, man. Like Truth, the way Truth hit the way the camera was positioned and the way it looked like Truth hit, it looked like he dropped like on the top of his head and his neck went like boom, like crunch, and I was just like, ugh. But yeah, he was good, man. Like right afterwards, he got up. After the match, you know, Tamina tried to give hell, and then Dana stopped, and then Dana stepped in, and she got hit. Yeah, damn it, get my words right. Yeah. Next up, we got AJ Styles. He came out to the ring talking about Omos, and then Grayson Waller from NXT, who is, them two have been starting a little back and forth, little squabbling, was out ringside. AJ welcomed Grayson into the ring, told him, hey, listen, like it here, huh? Yeah, I could get used to this, yeah. You know why? You know why I like it here? Because this is where stars get made. And yes, let's call it like it is. As much as I love NXT, NXT is the developmental. It's the farm team. You know? Which I got no problem with. I like watching it. And I like seeing the talent grow from there and seeing them go and grow and on to the other shows. You know? I mean, Christ, seeing how Gable changed from American Alpha to where he's at now, it's really nice to see. That's a good example. But either way, as them two are squabbling verbally, then out comes Apollo Crews with Commander Azeez. Crews, he's saying, you know, AJ, you and I are not that much, you and I are very much so alike. The difference being, though, you lost your giant, and I haven't. And then Commander Azeez goes to issue a challenge on him, and then Apollo, then they cut the commercial, they come back, they say Crews stepped in and said he would take it, which, oh my God, which my first thought was, okay, this is going to be a damn good match right here. Crews and Styles. Crews, he was leading with the pace throughout the whole match. Excuse me. Not a bad thing, but my God, this was a damn good. I really liked it. AJ got the win. He wound up popping a Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. That was it. After the match, though, he wound up popping Commander Azeez with a phenomenal forearm, threw a few slugs on him, and then hightailed it out. So yeah, we're going to get a big match. We're going to get a big match payoff between Styles and Omos. If it's not going to be at day one this Saturday, then it's more than likely going to be at Rumble the soonest, Mania latest. That's my prediction. Next up, we got Kevin Owens going against Cedric Alexander, and this came to be because Kevin Owens, he was out in the ring, cutting a promo talking about on how he's the only one out of the... Excuse me. Talking so fast, I'm drying my throat out. Owens was talking about on how he's the only one out of all three of the other competitors that are actually here. So he's smarter than Seth. He's more fierce than Big E, and he's stronger than Bobby Lashley, something along those lines. And you know, he's going to win. And then MVP came out saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I see where your plan is. It's a good idea. You see, you're gonna have everyone so caught up with each other." Nobody's going to lay eyes on you. Nobody's going to pick up your scent. But that doesn't stop the Almighty. The Almighty is going to lock horns. And the Almighty is going to rip your arms off. And then out comes Cedric and Shelton. Cedric goes to say, you know, think about this. Bobby was at his best when he was running with all of us. And then Kevin cut him off. Oh, I see where this is going right now. Excuse me. I see where this is going right now. Cedric's going to say he wants to issue a challenge to me to show that he is good enough to have the Hurt Business back. So if he wins, then the Hurt Business is back, and you get them two are with you and Bobby Lashley, so that way he has backup. So why don't we just get this out of the way and get it going? Basically like that, and just as fast. MVP just looks like, you heard the man, go. MVP was ringside doing commentary on it. Fucking love P. Do. Now, as far as the match went, Cedric, he was leading for a majority of it. KO got the win with a stunner. After the match, Shelton Benjamin was getting ready to go and speak. Then next thing you know, Owens, boom, popped a stunner on him. So now we come to the final match of the night. Not the closing. We'll get to the closing segment in a moment. Ooh. It was Dolph Ziggler going against Damian Priest. And this match, I couldn't help but chuckle a little bit before the match because, you know, my mom wound up seeing the thing of it, and for a minute it's like, who's that guy? Oh, it's Damian Priest. Nice looking fella. Huh. And that was it. Just like, damn, okay. But yeah, as far as the match went, it was a decent match. Priest was leading for it. It was a solid pace, but match ended in a DQ when Ziggler wound up slapping Priest, and then Priest went all Shamrock crazy snap mode and started pounding on to Ziggler, and then the ref called for a bell via DQ. So, you know, I'm just thinking out loud. Let's think about this for a moment here. They sent Big Show to sensitivity training for way less. But Damian Priest, who is showing severe anger issues at getting frustrated and to the point of being disqualified in a competitive match, isn't even being told he should do anger management by anyone? No? I mean, if there's a time for Dr. Shelby to make a return, now's it. Excuse me. Good God. Anyways, now we come to the closing segment of the night. It was Miz and Maurice renewing their wedding vows. Oh, I always cry at weddings. Well, not really, no. I've only been to one. Only been to one. That was it. I was the best man and I actually lost the wedding ring. That's a story for another day, though. Anyways, Miz and Maurice, they're going to renew their wedding vows, but it's not really a wedding without somebody to help officiate it, correct? So who better to officiate it than Eazy-E himself, Eric Bischoff. Eric came on down. I'm back! Coming down doing his bit. And welcomed out Miz, welcomed out Maurice. And probably the funniest, one of the funnier parts of it was as Miz was going up the steps, he stumbled and almost fell flat on his face, and I busted out laughing because here I thought I was the only motherfucker that was clumsy enough to fall on their face going upstairs, climbing up the stairs. Apparently I'm wrong. But yeah, then they go to renew their vows, all nice and lovey-dovey, gushy, kind of shit. Yeah, the kind of stuff that'd make you want to puke if you're not into that gushy romance stuff. And then Eric says, now if anyone has any objections, speak now or forever. Ah, what the hell? You know on how this is gonna turn out. And then out comes Edge. My first thought was, damn, Edge, this is a suit and tie affair. And you're coming out here wearing a Slayer shirt and a hoodie? Shame. Could have done a button-up shirt or something. Even a button-up shirt with like some skulls on it or something, man. Just, yeah. But either way, Edge came down, was like, whoa, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I'm not here to cause any trouble. I'm just here, like, you know, I get it. I get what you did, but that doesn't mean you think I'd come out here and do something like this alone? And then Miz and Murray's like, well, What do you got planned? Oh, relax, I'm just messing with you. I'm here for the show. And then they go renew, and then they do the kiss, and they're just like, oh, get a room, which is saying something coming from the guy who did a hardcore sex celebration in the middle of a ring. And then Edge walks off like, oh, by the way, you really may not have wanted to wear white. Walks off, lights go red, you hear the Brood music, and then then Miz and Maurice, whoosh, get a bloodbath. They get doused in a bloodbath. Well, I mean, technically it's not blood, but it looked more like really dark, kind of runny, watery gunk stuff, but I mean, one could probably make the argument it's arterial blood because it's that dark. But hey, so yeah, that was it for this week's show, folks. Can't really argue too much. It was a damn good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So with that said, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back with some of the episodes when you can. Look for me on the Twitter at TimVicious. Got a lot of good stuff coming up in 2022. Stay tuned. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get this stuff off the ground. We're in the works on it. And folks, thank you to my executive producer, Ollie Ray Ben, who did provide the music for this show. Make sure y'all check it out on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, all that good shit. Details are down below. Also, thank you to two contributors of the show, LFC Lingerie, Fighting Championship Era, Little Metal Wrestling, and a whole lot of attractive women and a little bit of nothing. Also, folks, don't forget to follow these cool-ass guys right on the Twitter. Kenny Kills DSP_IV Diabolica RA, Sergeant Curry Pants and Dubs in your face. And folks, I can always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me.
Die, or I get old, or I fuck you. Or I get old, or I die,